Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video you're going to have some Division 20 online gameplay in the Featherweight division using Zabit. And Zabit is a very good fighter in this division. I don't see him used a lot online anymore. I mean, when I in UFC 3 he was probably the most common fighter picked in the Featherweight division. But in this game his grappling is outstanding, and I just actually learnt this because I was watching Romero fight Jamie, and Romero implemented a very grappling heavy style, and I knew that obviously Zabit had all the tools available to be used as an elite grappler, but I didn't realise to the extent that he had all the trips and submissions and etc. So his stand-up this year isn't as good as last year, and for that reason I believe a lot less people use him. And one thing that surprised me was that he's actually lost his rubber guard, which is annoying because that's a tool I like to use in our fights. And here we're coming up against Dustin Poirier, and I believe my opponent, when we get into the game, is going to be a Division 19 player, if I'm remembering correctly. And Zabit in real life is one of the most exciting fighters in the featherweight division, and the division's stacked, so it'd be interesting to see what he does next in real life. I mean, there's talks of him fighting the Korean Zombie, which I think would be an excellent fight. And if that does come to fruition, it'll be entertaining, it'll be fun to watch. And I've got a Korean Zombie gameplay coming out on my channel as well, because he's one of my favourite fighters to use in this weight class. So starting the fight here against Dustin, we know that Dustin's going to have the advantage in the boxing exchanges and with the power. One thing about using a taller fighter like Zabit is swaying is easier, so you can sway back punches a lot easier. And it's a 5-round fight, so I don't want to use up too much stamina. And I'm just trying to get a gauge of what my opponent's doing. As you can see, I'm hitting him with a teep kick. I've taken him down twice now, but I just haven't got on top yet because I don't want to display how good my grappling is. That's something I like to leave until the later rounds when my opponent's tired. My opponent gets the takedown here and he actually opts to get on top. And this is where I realised that Zabit now doesn't have the rubber guard, which it surprised me. But here I'm just looking to not take too much damage, pick up on little patterns and see if I can use those to my advantage in the next round. So staying calm, just doing little strikes off the bottom to keep the GA neutral on my side. I'm denying transitions where I can, but I'm not going to force myself to get up. I don't mind being on my back and learning how my opponent moves and getting used to denying his transitions on the ground in the event that my opponent does take it to the ground, because obviously Dustin has a good ground game. It's not as good as Zabit, especially obviously in the featherweight division. Dustin isn't as good as he is at lightweight. So if the fight stays on the ground like this for the rest of the round, that's fine with me, just because it's only the first round. I can afford to lose a round, and it's important to gain knowledge on how your opponent's going to fight. Here, as you can see, I'm not taking too much damage. He's postured up a couple of times while on the ground, and as you can see there, his stamina isn't in a good position. So I take my opponent's back, and I'm waiting to see what he's going to do. And I always have trouble denying that, but I've recently learned how to do it properly. And here we go to take my opponent's back, and he does a good job of denying it. So this round at the moment is obviously going towards my opponent on the scorecards, just because the control he had on the ground and the shots he was able to land. But it's nothing too worrying. It's nothing that I wasn't expecting. I mean, like I said, I always take this round off. I just want to see how my opponent fights, and with Zabit, he's got good knees and good elbows. As you see, I get the drop there, and that's what you want to implement, and I get another drop here. And this is why I give the emphasis on remaining calm on the ground, because a lot of people could have panicked and rushed to the feet, but that's not an issue. I know I'm eventually going to get up, and when I do, it's about capitalising. As you can see here, I'm doing a good job of giving my opponent damage. I mean, hitting with a good couple flurries there. And overall now that's going to be my round because of the 2 knockdowns. And now going into round 2, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable because I got 2 knockdowns. I know how my opponent plays, I know what his ability is like on the ground, and it's just going to flow easier to me now. And right here, as you can see, I'm hitting it with a couple combos, and where we was on the ground but I wasn't on top, my opponent didn't see how I move on the ground, which is always good, because now when I look to take my opponent to the ground, he's going to have to figure out how I play on the ground. And Zabit's got amazing tools to use with the knees, the elbows, the head kicks, the teeps, the front kicks, and Zabit's very much like a created fighter. I mean, yes, his stand-up isn't as good as it was last year, but if used correctly, he can be a dominant force. I mean, with the length he has, and with the kicks, partner that with the grappling, I mean, he has all the trips, and then partner it with the ground game. He's a very viable option to use in the featherweight division. Obviously, people don't pick him as much as they did in UFC 3, but maybe when people realise how good he is, they'll start using him again. I mean, after Romero used him, I'm sure a lot of people will. And as you can see, my opponent shot for the takedown on me and I denied. And then I suplexed into the ground. And here I'm just going to look to do little bits of damage. I don't mind if my opponent gets back to the feet because I've been dominating the exchanges on the feet. And if it stays on the ground, I can just see out the rest of the round, tire out my opponent, which will benefit me in the next coming rounds. I mean, I never really look to finish a fight in round 1 or 2 in a 5-round fight, just because the players you're playing are often high level, like my opponent is now, and they've got the ability to survive. So if you keep unloading and keep wasting stamina, they'll get you further on down the rounds. So as you can see, I'm content with staying here and just doing little bits of damage. My opponent gets me in the rubber guard, which Dustin has and Zabit doesn't. I stack guard to do a little bit of damage, and then I back away. And now we're back on the feet, and my stamina isn't really where I'd want it to be at. It's a bit low for round 2. I believe there, when I'm throwing that kick, I'm actually trying to go for a front kick, but I must not have been inputting it right. And as you can see, when my opponent comes in close, I'm using my head movement to avoid strikes. I'm trying to land knees to do damage to the body, to drain him. I'm throwing a lot of teep kicks, go for the spinning kick there, but I'm way out of range. And I'm working my opponent's body, just draining that stamina, because I've done a lot of damage to the head so far. So I'm just looking to drain my opponent's stamina. The body work will play dividends in the next couple rounds. I mean, you can only take so much strikes to the body before not only it starts taxing your stamina, but everything you do is going to be taxed, and every time you get hit with a body shot, you're going to weep. And coming into this round, I know my opponent's taken a significant amount of damage, which is giving me confidence to press forwards. I mean, with Zabit, you don't really want to be in the boxing exchanges just because of his hand speed and hand power. I mean, Dustin's the favourite in that area in this fight. However, I've done enough damage now to the point where I feel comfortable, and if the fight goes to the ground, it won't take much for me to finish my opponent either. Get the takedown there. My opponent has no stamina getting up. I saw it flash, and I'm putting on the pressure here just because I know I'm at a significant advantage in the stamina. And as you can see, just hitting him with the switch kicks, I mean, hitting him with the knee, and all this body work's just been adding up for a long time now. Just hitting him, teeing off with some beautiful strikes, and Zabit really is like a created fighter with his moveset, so I'm taking advantage of that. My opponent's now trapped against the cage and there's not much he can do. A couple knees to the body will rock him. Get the rock here, get the drop with the left hook to the body. And again, my opponent survives, but the body's in such a terrible position. I go for the head kick there, misses, get the jab, and we get the finish. So that was a small showcase for Zabit there, just showing you how good he can be against a good fighter. He was a high level fighter as well, I believe Division 19. It just goes to show you how dominant Zabit can be. And hopefully this gameplay encourages more people to use him. You're going to have the scorecards come up any second now. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.